Hi, this is Mike with Calsierra, and today I'm going to show you what we do at Calsierra when it comes to preventive maintenance on a Zebra printers. I'm going to be using a 140 Xi4 to do the maintenance. During preventive maintenance, we look for several things. First, we're going to look how the printer performs doing a print pause test, and then we're going to look at the components, consumable components that might need to be replaced or need some cleaning. So we're going to look at the platen roller, we're going to look at the print head, and we're going to look at the belt inside of the drive belt inside of the case. And then we're going to go overall the entire printer, make sure the control panel is working, that the Ethernet port is working, power is working, all the components that are part of the printer we're going to look at and clean them off. So first, what we're going to do, we're going to run a print pause test. So we're going to turn off the printer. Holding pause button, we're going to turn the printer back on until the printer starts up. And our pause button will be, pause light will be indicating that the printer is paused. And then we're going to release the pause button and press it one more time once the printer boots up. Pause the printer again. So just by looking at this print, it looks like the printhead is brand new. There's no dots that are burned down. There's no vertical lines running through the labels. So the printhead is in perfect shape. Now we're gonna be turning off the printer, and we're gonna be looking at the internal components. After turning off the printer and removing all the media, we're gonna look at the platen roller. And right off the bat, we'll see that there's some gashes right over here in the platen roller. So this platen roller will need to be replaced. Second, what we're gonna look at is gonna open the print head, and we're gonna look at the print head itself just to make sure that there's no residue right over here, and we would clean that. If your printer has a snap-in plate right over here, we would remove that and clean it as well, just to make sure that the reflective light is not blocked, just because if it is blocked, that's what the media is getting sensed, and it will give you the error messages. And lastly, what we'll do is we're going to look at the all overall components. We're going to be cleaning any rollers right over here that might have some residue, dusting it off. And then what we will do is open the case right over here and look at the internal components. Opening the case, we're going to look at the internal components. We're going to look at the belt right over here. To help yourself, we can actually take the belt off, and we are going to look at it, make sure that there's no rips, no missing teeth on the belt itself, just because if the belt is slipping, it will cause slippage in print quality. We're also going to check all the gears, make sure that there's no slack in there, make sure there's no burnt marks on any of the components itself that can show any type of failure. And as far as I can tell right here, everything looks great, including the belt. So this will conclude checking out the internal components. We are going to be dusting off all the residue that comes from the usage of this printer. So we're going to be dusting or using compressed air to blow off any residue to make sure. Okay, so as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, there was a issue with the platen roller. I went ahead and already replaced it. The replacement is shown in another video. So I went ahead and replaced the platen roller, and now I'm going to be working on cleaning off the internal components of the printer. So this is a snap plate right over here. As you can see, it has some glue residue left over. So we want to clean up that, make sure it performs as it should, and it's not blocking off any media detection. So we're going to use a rag saturated in alcohol, and we're just going to clean it off to make sure that no glue is left. And we're going to snap it back in place. We're going to clean off the print head, make sure there's no residue on itself. Then we're going to dust off the sensors, install the media, and do another post print just to make sure that everything is working fine. All right, I went ahead and I cleaned off the snapping plate, and I'm gonna reinstall it just to make sure it's done right. There you go, perfect. And again, just using the rag with alcohol, we're just gonna wipe the print head, make sure that there's no residue, wipe all the rollers right in here. If you're not replacing a platen roller for, you know, there's no reason for it, we're just gonna wipe the roller again too, just to make sure that there's no residue on it. Wipe the tariff bar, make sure that there's no residue as well. And then inside, we're just gonna clean, as I mentioned, all the rolls as well, just to make sure that there's no glue that's left off, because that glue will create streaks on the label if you have a lot of it. I'm just gonna clean inside the printer. And most of it we're just gonna blow off with the compressed air, to make sure that everything is done nicely. I'm going to wipe it. There we go. Now we got compressed air. I'm gonna blow off any sensors. Perfect. Now we're going to install the media, the labels. Close the print head. Close the cover, plug in the printer, turn it on, holding the pause button, and we're going to test it one more time. And after that, we're just going to test the control panel, make sure all the buttons are working. We know the pause is working, and then we're just going to test all the other buttons to make sure they're working. And that will conclude our preventive maintenance. And that's perfect. Now we're just going to test the panel itself. Since I already have a job, print pause job in here, what we can do is we can just use the buttons itself just to test, make sure the right left works. Changing anything pretty much works as well. These buttons work, this works, fitting a label works. There we go. And canceling as well works, so we are good to go.